Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Cellar TV. So today what we're going to be trying is a lovely and really quite exciting white wine, I have to say, from Australia. So they're actually from the Adelaide Hills is where the actual winery is, and the winery is Unico Zelo, and this is their Jade and Jasper. There you are, Jade and Jasper pure 100% Fiano. For those of you that aren't particularly aware of what Fiano is as a grape varietal, it's an Italian grape varietal, if the name didn't already give that away, and it's actually a grape varietal which is usually found in sort of the central south of Italy. So it's quite interesting, and it's from sort of the Campania region and around there. And it is really quite interesting as well, because if you think of the other sort of red grape varietals and even a few of the other white grape varietals that are where Fiano is usually planted, they tend to be a little bit more fuller in body, quite sort of juicy, rich and voluptuous, sort of both reds and whites. And what's interesting about Fiano, and I've always loved this, is that it's usually got quite a nice acidity, which is a nice counterpoint to some of the other white wines that are produced from the regions of Campania and so on and so forth. But this is really interesting because you don't get to see too many commercial Fianos planted anywhere else outside of that particular region. So it's very exciting to see people like Unico Zelo, who are trying out those interesting grape varietals, putting a new touch on the whole grape themselves and whole concept behind those wines, which is very exciting. And this has very much got that new world feel to it. Anyway, so this is Fiano, and they're 2016 vintage. They're Jade and Jasper. And these guys actually do have a few sort of Grand Cru or reserve wines, which are also made purely out of Fiano as well. I think they've got, I'll say two, three, perhaps 4 different releases of sort of little single special plots of Fiano as well, which are all absolutely delicious. Anyway, so this is their 2016 Jade and Jasper Fiano. Let's give it a little sniff. So we actually, we decanted this for about 45 minutes or so, or perhaps slightly longer than that actually, just to really let this one breathe out a little bit, because I do find that sometimes with a new wine, especially because it's 2016 current release, that they can be just a little bit more closed in. So I always decant both white and red wines, generally speaking, if I've got the time. Usually I'll make the time, just to really make sure that you are getting the most out of those particular wines. Anyway, so for me, what's lovely about this is that it really does have that classic Fiano characteristic, and that for me is this beautiful sort of lime sherbet, a little bit of green melon and yellow peach. Those are the 3 aspects of sort of Fiano, classic Fiano, that I really look for and I love, absolutely. What I like about this though is that it has all those characteristics, but it really just has this lovely, beautiful sort of center and core, I should say, of beautiful sort of white nectarine, white peach flavors as well. And then the more it opens up, and just sort of now, it's getting just a little bit, just a little bit of that sort of papaya and those little bit more sort of tropical fruit flavors, which is very exciting. And of course, what you would expect from an Australian white wine, because of course it is a slightly more warmer there, ever so slightly, and that means that they do get a little bit more sort of fruit concentration and often some more of those tropical aspects of aromatic aspects in their wines. But still that beautiful sort of lovely green fruit flavors, as I say, that lime sherbet really sort of zings through. And as it sort of opens up a little bit more, you are getting slightly more floral notes actually. Some sort of gardenia, a little bit of sort of daisy and things like this. I suppose just a touch of a sort of lime flower, but still it's that fleshy, those beautiful peaches, and sort of both yellow and white peaches, but then that white nectarine, it's just delicious. Anyway, let's give it a little taste. So on the palate, classic Fiano in many ways. I'd say if you take take a typical, not an atypical, but a typical Fiano from the Campania region, generally speaking, you'd have slightly higher acidity, and it would be slightly That'd be medium minus in body, if you will. And this one, to me, is a little bit more medium plus in body. So a little bit more fruity, a little bit more sort of, yeah, just fleshier, a little bit more juicy perhaps, but still decent acidity, I'd say, actually. Decent acidity, sort of medium to medium plus, not high by any means, but decent, which is nice because it sort of holds it all together. But again, it's just really sort of pushed through by its core. That's what it's sort of riding on. It's not the acidity, it's not sort of the body or anything else of this. It's just this big, beautiful, plush, juicy, rich core of those, again, those nectarines, those peaches, that lime. For me, a little bit more green melon is sort of coming through on the palate there, which is quite nice. And almost, again, that tropical flavor. It's just hinting at the background, and I do feel that if you sort of lay down a couple of these bottles in a couple of years, you'll probably get even more development and even more of those tropical fruit flavors coming through. As I said, a little bit of papaya, perhaps a little bit of mango might be there, just in the background, which is quite nice. And so it does have a decent finish here as well, which is fantastic. And I have to say, actually, this wine is fantastic. There's no question about it. Very, very well made, very, very fruit forward, nice and easy to drink and all the rest, and perfect with things like chicken or fish and all sorts of things like that. But I have to say, the best thing, the single best thing about this particular wine is the price. We have this for $32 online, a steal. And easy to sort of pick up a 6-pack, and as I say, just, well, drink them all, but actually put a couple away in the cellar, I'd say, and just see how this one progresses. This is 2016 vintage. It's lovely, it's beautiful, it's fresh, and it's drinking well now, which is great. But imagine what this is going to be drinking like in a couple of years. It's going to be really interesting to see what 2020 is going to bring for this particular wine. I do think it's going to last quite a bit of time as well. And this is fantastic, but I highly do also recommend that you go and check out a couple of their single vineyard and sort of their reserve labels of their Fiano as well. All the information for the Unico Zelo Jade and Jasper Fiano is all down the line, and from there then you can go out and find a little bit more about Unico Zelo as an actual winery. Brilliant, and all of their wines are excellent. We recently tried their Truffle Hound, which is their Nebbiolo predominant red wine. They also make a Dolcetto and Nero di Avola and a few other wines as well. And as I say, really are sort of the Australian Italian specialists, which is very, very cool to see. Anyway, I hope you've liked the video. Please do like away, comment away, let us know if you've tried this particular wine, any other sort of Fianos from around Australia or anywhere else in the New World that you think we should be trying. And yes, of course, please do check out a few of our other videos and subscribe if you've liked it, because we are constantly putting up more and more content. Anyway, I've been Connal. This has been the Cellar TV. Cheers.